The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Cool. And welcome to this hot topic for data quality on bed utilization. This is a four-part series that we've been giving out to all providers who received those special PDFs that got sent to you about your data quality. That's a new process that we're attempting to roll out right now for next quarter. We've been testing it out right now and making sure everything's working okay. But if you are on this webinar right now and you are interested to learn more about bed utilization, I am happy to help, and I am happy to give out any information that I can and help you out with any way I could. Once again, my name is Brian Rivera with All Chicago. You're at the Hot Topics for Data Quality for Bed Utilization. Like I said, it's a four-part webinar series that we've been having today. We've already had webinars on fixing missing data, sub-assessment, fixing data, child-only entries. This is the third one today we're doing on bed and room utilization. And I'll be doing another webinar at 3:30, which will be about sub-assessments and ways of looking at sub-assessments in order to fix sub-assessments, as well as strategies for making sure that you have good data every time you enter in a sub-assessment. But today we're talking about bed and room utilization. So, what does it really mean to have bed and room utilization? It means that how many beds and rooms are available compared to the number of enrolled clients as a measure of accuracy. And this is important for us to make sure that we are having the right report delivered to you in terms of accurate bed and unit counts, as well as for coordinated entry with the amount of units that are available for use in our system. So it's very important that we have up-to-date information on what kind of bed and room unit lists that are available right now. Once again, we have the report here. If you ever want to look at the actual DQ report on utilization, most of you already have by this point. This link down here for Chicago HMIS data quality assessment instructions is going to be updated for the future. What's going to happen is that we're going to essentially, as we announced at the previous ATA meeting back in, I think, January, that we will be rolling out a new system of data quality, which you'll just be receiving automated emails from us that detail areas that we want you to take a look at and improve pretty much. And one of the areas is on bed utilization. So that second link right there that you see on the screen will actually change with the new kind of procedures and everything. Well, I forgot to mention this in the beginning pretty much, but for this webinar, we'll be talking about bed utilization for about 30 minutes, and then the last half hour will be answering any questions that you might have. And always feel free to talk on the help desk with us. We're always happy to help you out and try to figure out the solutions for you. Before I begin on actually bed utilization, I'll talk about timeliness, which is one of those things that always comes up during any kind of data quality call pretty much. And the way we define timeliness is that it's the measure of the number of days it takes for data to become entered into HMIS. So the way the formula is that the date and entry is created in service point minus the project entry date. And the expectation that we have for all of our providers is that data is entered within the system within 2 days or 48 hours. A good example of this would be if the entry was created on January 2nd, right? But the project entry date didn't really happen till later on, like let's say January 7th, right? That's beyond the 2-day threshold right there. So there would be a late timeliness issue. The one thing people need to understand about timeliness is that it cannot be corrected, right? This is recorded by the system. So if it happens that you fall out the timeliness window of more than 2 days, there's no way that we can correct it pretty much because it's timestamped by service point. So all we can do is basically make sure that your data is accurate up to this point in terms of entry into your projects, right? And the reason we stress that heavily is because it plays a bigger part into coordinated entry. Because the one list that we use for coordinated entry to make sure that everyone who is assessed for housing has been done so within a certain time frame, and we need to make sure that either people haven't exited from your project within a 2-day window, people have entered within your project within a 2-day window, just to make sure that we have the most up-to-date information as near real time as we can get. So it plays a big part in the timeliness. If you fall out the window, it's okay. Um, it's okay that I'm human. We're all human here. That there's only so much you can do to make sure you fall within 2 days. But the expectation that we always hold everybody is that we try to enter in 2 days to get as near real time as we can as possible. Okay, so let's talk about bed and unit utilization and what that really means. So to help ensure that projects are entering clients whom they are serving exiting clients when services are completed, we measure the number of households divided by the number of clients the project is serving on a particular night. And then we compare that to the number it is contracted to serve, right? So the formula for unit utilization would be number of clients or households enrolled, divided by or over the number of beds or units are contracted to serve. And we use the exact same method for all projects that are funded to provide housing to clients if they're emergency shelter, transitional housing, safe haven, or permanent supportive housing. So when we say that in your data quality timeline, pretty much of when to submit data to us, that we want updated unit lists, we use that so we can make sure that we have the most up-to-date unit and bed list that we have, so that when we're calculating out our utilization rates, we have the most accurate numbers we can. So one of the main things is, how do you correct bed unit utilization overall? Okay, and not just at a client by client level, but more of like the entire system or your entire project right now. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that you verify that all the clients entered into your program are still entered into your program. In some cases, clients have exited or have lost contact and should be exited. So that's really on a project by project basis. But if you know a client is not there for that particular time, then you should go ahead and exit them out of your list, pretty much, because they'll be keeping it the most up to date as you can. Entry is kind of easy when you have unit lists available, but make sure exits are just as important too as well, to make sure that your list is up to date. Also, we want you to verify your unit lists, and I'll show this on the help desk in a minute. And your unit list can be added, updated, and removed anytime during the year. It's not just during data quality periods. You can update your unit lists, add more units. You can even delete unit lists if you decide to either move to a new location or you're remodeling the entire thing and you need to take down some units while you're doing some remodeling work. You can update that on us for any time during the year. So it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter if it's a data quality period or not. Just go ahead and just let us know, and then we can update it for you at that time. It's the most accurate representation that we have overall to make sure that we know that what units are not being filled and what units are being filled. And one of the most important things down here is that a project would not be penalized, right, if their data is correct, as long as there's a documented reason for why the project is under or over the acceptable range for project capacity on a given date. So as long as you just give us a reason as to why it's over or under, then we can go ahead and just mark that as a note for data quality, so that we know that, this project over here had to take down 3 beds because they broke. So we have to remove 3 beds from the unit list, and then we can recalculate the utilization rates accordingly. That's totally fine. It's totally acceptable. Just let us know it's going to happen. Okay. So let's go over here on the help desk. Imagine, if you will, that I search in the help desk for unit lists, and one of the first things that pop up is creating and edit your unit lists, right? And this page will basically show you this unit list right here is what we have for your individual project at this moment in time. We ask that all providers go through this to make sure that we head and send us the form down here to either add, update, it might be update usually, or delete a unit list. And so we do ask providers to make sure that we have the most accurate unit lists available at any given time. The way you would do it is that you would just click within the window, hit Control F, and then you can go ahead and type in what organization you're from in order to find your unit list for that organization, pretty much. And once you do that, you can see what we have right here. So for this one, 75, 75, 0, number of beds, number of rooms, dedicated veteran beds, chronically homeless beds, and the like. Okay. So what do we do with this data? Once we get this form filled out, the ones on the bottom for add, update, and delete, we actually go into your service point and we go to the provider admin page. And we do this from all Chicago's end. You don't see any of this at all on your side. We actually update your standards information and we actually update your unit list manually. And this is where that form you filled out earlier, we fill out everything here, whether or not, what household type do you accept, the bed types that you have, availability, if it's a chronic homeless for veterans or for youth, when the inventory started, HMIS participating, how much the unit inventory and bed inventory was, and the name of the unit list. And so we update this on our end pretty much. Some providers have asked us before, like, can we update this ourselves? We normally stray away from that because we want you to let us know that's being changed so that we can make sure we can put a note in our system to know that, okay, we update this unit list for this point in time. That way we know we attached it last, so we don't have to, work on it anymore. So we always advise people to let us know what your unit lists are, and we can update it really easily. We update it here under your standards information in the provider admin. And then we also update it for ShelterPoint, for organizations that are using ShelterPoint. We update it there too as well. Module settings. And then we go to ShelterPoint. And then unit lists. And then from here, we're actually able to update the unit lists from the same list that you gave us, broken down by either floor, room, and bed. So that's where we updated here ourselves too as well. As you can tell, for large beds, or just for large bed utilizations, or just beds in general, it does take us a while to update your unit list. So you have to give us some time in order to make sure that that's all working for us. And then we save that, and that's reflected back in ShelterPoint, if you decide to use ShelterPoint. Okay. So one of the things that I want to talk about real quickly about bed utilization is some common errors that we see with bed utilization, and one of which is basically we gone over already is making sure that your unit lists are up to date, right? So if you ever see a problem on your DQ report on utilization rates, double check to make sure we have the right rates for you. And the second thing is that if we ever see any kind of overutilization or underutilization, that could be attributed to basically just more people than you can serve in beds, or you added more beds and not enough people are coming in, or there's not enough people coming into your project for that particular night, which is totally fine. We just ask that you make sure you let us know about that, and also making sure that if you have people into your projects, making sure that they're exited within a timely manner, within 2 days, and making sure that they're within your project scope in terms of entry and exit too as well. So at this point, there really isn't that much to talk about with bed utilization other than making sure that people are exit entry on time and that you have the right unit lists and everything. I'm going to open up to questions right now through chat if anybody has any questions about it. Anything that's a little bit more deep dive, I'll ask that we go through the help desk, and I'll definitely get back to you on that too as well. But I'm definitely here for help in terms of making sure that you understand what utilization is. Is it okay to be over or underutilized? In some instances, it is okay as long as you explain to us what happened pretty much. And just making sure that everything is up to date within service points so that we have the most accurate information that we can. So I'll open up the questions on chat. I know this webinar is supposed to be an hour long. Usually we do about 30 minutes for presentation, 30 minutes for for Q&A with the move arounds, with the webinars and everything, and the fact that we just came out of polar vortex. We'll try to get as much as we can done today, and hopefully during the next DQ session, pretty much we can have more focused and more direct webinars on what can help you pretty much as an ATA or as an end user with making sure that this is you have less, right, less questions to have and better data to have in the future. So I'm open up for chat for a little bit. I'll be here. We'll open up for till about 2:30. Pretty much, have any questions on chat. At this point, nothing more in the presentation. If there's anything you want me to cover, feel free to let me know or to answer right now. And I would love to help you out in any way that I can. So yeah, go ahead. If you have any questions in the chat, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, have a really great day and wonderful Friday. I got your question, George. It's reading it right now. If you know that you are allowed to serve more individuals, then you should let us know that you're going to be updating your unit list for that, because that's something that definitely is within your purview in terms of letting us know that. Yeah, you should definitely let us know that if you're allowed to serve more people, you should update your unit list for that. Um, if it was over for like a night, like more people came into your shelter for one single night, or your program for one night, or for one day or whatever, then that's fine. That would be like a note, pretty much, that we want to know. But if it's gonna be overutilized, like long term, because you know ahead of time that you can serve more individuals, you should definitely update your unit list for that. Yeah, no problem. When in doubt, just update your unit list.